di glorificazione di Shyam, che era il nostro amico e il nostro cofratello, e era molto importante per noi. Qualcuno di voi vorrebbe dire qualcosa questa mattina? No, non sento, Cinzia.
Cinzia,
Cinzia, non la sento. Sì. Who is the host? Can you make me a host?
I can, but then I can't share the video. So let me make you a host after the beginning slideshow.
Because I couldn't hear Cinzia.
Oh, she was muted, but now she's unmuted, looks like.
Oh.
Mi senti adesso?
Sì, sì.
Ok.
Sì.
Sto aspettando anche mia sorella che deve collegarsi.
Va bene.
Ok.
Va bene. And then there are people who I don't know who you are because you're some kind of pixels or zoomies. So.
Bumsy, can you speak up a little bit? It's a little quiet.
You can hear me? Okay. I was saying that there are people who are signed in as their phones or something, so I don't know who
Gli dico
you
di
are.
fare videochiamata con te,
You
io lo
could
spiego.
identify yourself or turn on your camera, that'd be great. And so that we can start.
I'm Shraddha on the phone. Shraddha Devi Dasi on the phone.
Hi.
I don't.
You're
Very well.
I've only
Very
seen.
well. Yes, I can't get on the computer. I have to get on my phone. That's all I have, a landline.
No problem.
Thank you.
Krishna.
Yes.
Not have their camera on, I understand. It's hard for me to see everybody because there's a lot of people. There's people signed in. So if you want to say something, please raise your virtual hand so that I can see you. And also, so earlier I was welcoming Shyam's sister to our gathering, and I wanted to welcome you all and thank you for being here during this time when we gathered to remember Shyam and talk about his life and his contribution to our lives and his contribution to our Sangha, but also more importantly to talk about how his loss has affected us all. So thank you for being here, and thank you for those people who already volunteered to speak. So I wanted just to say how important these gatherings are, and it's also very heartwarming to see all of you here and many of you that I haven't seen in a long time. So I'm happy to see some of the faces here together with us this morning.
Vamsi, can you speak louder? A little bit louder?
I don't know how much louder I can speak. I don't know where my
close.
Where my microphone is. How about this? Is this better?
Yeah.
Turn on your volumes, and please, if you can hear me, let me know again, because sometimes I tend to not speak loud. So we have several people who are going to speak about Shyam today. And what we're going to do is I'm going to read a poem about loss that hasn't been written for Shyam in particular, but it's entitled Syamasundara Memorial. And so I thought it would be fitting to read it today. So I pray for your indulgence when I do that today. After that, Guru Nishta is going to show us a collage of photos and some music that he put together of Shyam. And after that, we're going to start speaking. Obviously, the video that Gurnishta prepared probably will be somewhat evocative for people, so we understand that after we're done watching, some people might be moved and feelings, so we'll take a minute just to kind of recollect before we start speaking. Closer to my computer. How about this? There's no more room in my to put it any closer. Very quiet. Speaker. Okay. I'm not sure if there is a way for me to turn on my in my microphone higher.
There is, Vamsa. If you go to, do you know how to get to the settings?
Yes.
So go to audio in the settings, and then there's output volume.
Output volume is all the way up.
That's better.
It's all the way up. So there's two options: SIM system or built-in output internal speaker. All these are speakers.
Somehow it's louder now. At least for me, it's louder now. It seems good.
How about now? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Internal microphone. How about this? Is this better?
Same, but it's better. So you can keep going.
Okay. Sorry about that. I do this every week, but I'm technologically not that advanced. Okay. Lindsay, è sua sorella arrivata o sta per arrivare?
Vamsi?
Ok, mi senti adesso?
Sì, sento.
Dicevo, mia sorella non riesce a connettersi. Adesso mio marito la sta chiamando con videochiamata per spiegarle cosa fare.
Ok.
Ok?
E qualcuno di voi vorrebbe parlare stamattina o...
Se ce la faccio senza piangere.
Va bene, e va bene piangere, ci siamo riuniti qua anche per piangere.
Vamsi,
Yes.
Sakirati, she said that she could translate for Cinzia and Tina and Sonia. I don't know if that's too complicated now or...
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have that translation feature anymore. We had to downgrade the Zoom plan.
Okay. No problem.
Ok. Va bene. While we wait for 1 second, let me turn off my things. Okay. Okay, maybe we could start, and then as she comes in, and also if you feel like talking later, you can let us know. Okay, so thank you, I'm going to just read this poem to just put us in a little bit of mood and think about loss and importance of these kinds of unions together to process the loss and process our feelings. So I beg for your indulgence and thank you so much while I read this. The poem is called Syamasundara Pitambardar. The banks of separation and union together hold the river love that flows to healing and communion, gives hope, reshapes our dawn. This love without name or touch flows back and forth between us. We born it into being, but cannot hold on it too much. The river runs into the ocean. Its fervent union tears us apart. As we are drowning in our sorrow, it feels unreal that we could mend our broken heart. The loss is always hurts, is true. Suffering, it makes us kind. We gain so much while crying and truly share our lot in life. Loss is what helps us live, even if pain is unkind. From loss, we learn how to bear living. Mourning does hurt, but gives us might. My teacher claims the loss from above comes as the expression of divine love for those he truly covets the most. As this is true, so I take losing thee of the same essence to be. And so it goes in each love's start. Born is the moment when we depart. The end is near, star of my life. I find it hard to say adieu. How will I live in this world when it is devoid of you? How can I tell you some parting words when we will never be apart? What more can I ever give you when all my giving is your heart? So take these words and hold them dear. They are the rhythm of my heart, beating together this love's last cry. May we forever mind his cowherds, and may he always be our guide. Thank you. So Gurnishta, you're going to share your screen and do the video. Thank you.
অরুণের আকালে পিণ্ডার উপরে শৃঙ্গ বাজায় বলরাম ভাইরে ভাইরে ডাকি গোজন তোলায় নিদ্রিত তো থাকে শ্যাম তামাটে গগনে উদয় সময়ে নবীন নীরদ যেন বিচিত্র সায়নে গোকুল নন্দন সন্তুষ্ট করে শয়ান যশোদা বদনে শীর্ষে জল দিয়া মুখের সৌন্দর্য পিয়া বটু নর্ম সখা কৃষ্ণ কর নড়ি তাকে জাগায় বলিয়া উঠো রে কানা তোমার নায়না খুলিয়া ঘুম ছাড়িয়া সকাল গোপাল বনে যেতে চাই এসো আমাদের প্রিয়া দেখো কি সুন্দর অরুণিমা কালে সেবক সেব ঈশ্বর জগতের বন্ধু অহংকার গত নিতাই সচিনন্দন বার হে খান সঙ্গে যায় বনে বনে সারাদিনা যাব গোবর্ধনে যমুনা পুরিনে বসে বনে চিন্তাহীনা হরাম গোবিন্দ আমার যুগল গোপীনায়ন বিরাম চোখে অশ্রুহীনা কাঁদি কাঁদি বলি কবে এত পাবো হাম কবে এত পাবো হাম কৃষ্ণ বলরাম কৃষ্ণ বলরাম কৃষ্ণ বলরাম জয় কৃষ্ণ বলরাম জয় কৃষ্ণ বলরাম জয় কৃষ্ণ বলরাম কৃষ্ণ বলরাম জয় 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 কৃষ্ণ বলরাম কৃষ্ণ বলরাম কৃষ্ণ বলরাম জয় রাম জয় শ্যাম 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 রোহিণী নন্দন রোহিণী নন্দন রোহিণী নন্দন রোহিণী নন্দন যশোদা নন্দন যশোদা নন্দন যশোদা নন্দন যশোদা নন্দন রোহিণী নন্দন রোহিণী নন্দন যশোদা নন্দন যশোদা নন্দন রোহিণী নন্দন রোহিণী নন্দন যশোদা নন্দন যশোদা নন্দন সুন্দর সুন্দর অতি সুন্দর গোপাল সুন্দর সুন্দর অতি সুন্দর গোপাল মধুর মধুর অতি মধুর যুগা মধুর মধুর অতি মধুর যুগা সুন্দর সুন্দর অতি সুন্দর গোপাল সুন্দর সুন্দর অতি সুন্দর গোপাল মধুর মধুর অতি মধুর যুগাল মধুর মধুর অতি মধুর যুগাল হরি বল হরি বল
Jaya Shyam. Thank you, Guru Nishta, for putting this together. It was beautiful. I also wanted to thank and recognize all the devotees in our Sangha who contributed financially and otherwise to Shyam and Gaur. As Gaurangi Priya mentioned this before, this was really helpful in the last period of Shyam's life, that they didn't have to worry about money. Also, I wanted to recognize all the devotees who answered the call and went to Madhuvan to help as much as they could. And in particular, Chandramukhi, Ram Govinda, Kishore Krishna, Gaura Narayan, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting someone. Sadhvi, thank you. I'm sorry, Sadhvi. Thank you so much for being there. Your help was very instrumental in making this period manageable for Shyam and Gaur. Okay, so Chitta Harya, would you be okay to start first?
Yeah, I think I can manage that.
Thank you.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. So I met Shyam when he came to Eugene in the summer of 1996. And I don't remember the exact chronology, but I had gotten initiated, and then he came a couple of weeks later. And Guru Maharaj, seeing his bhakti sanskar, just gave him Harinam and Diksha at the same time. And I think there was no ceremony at that time, and he had Shyam sit in on a later ceremony. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked, but forgive me if I'm forgetting that. But anyway, as Guru Maharaj said in his eulogy, it was obvious from day one that Shyam this is not his first time doing this. And as I got to know him, and he told me some of his history, it was very clear. Like, he grew up in Milan and would go to Villa Vrindavan as a teenager. And he very quickly realized, I need a guru. And I think still as a teenager, he's like, it's still inconceivable to me because I wouldn't do it even now. He went to India alone to find a guru. He's like, I'm just going to go. I have to do this. And he gets to Vrindavan and he went to Rupanuka Bhajan Ashram, which was an ashram started by Guru Maharaj and Narsingha Maharaj back in the 90s. And Guru Maharaj was not there. Narsingha Maharaj was there. And Shyam told him, I'm looking for a guru. I need a guru. And Narsingha Maharaj told him, pray to Nityananda Prabhu for a guru. He'll guide you. And so Shyam told me the prayer. He said, please send me to Prabhupada's best disciple. And soon after that, he ended up, on another plane to America to just give his life to Guru Maharaj. And he showed up with his handmade pasta maker because he loved to cook, and he wanted to be able to cook for his guru and for his deity, and share the cuisine that he had grown up with. And so I learned how to make gnocchi with him, and I learned about fennels in those early days. And in the evenings, he and I, one of my fondest memories is he and I would sit, and before the deity would go to rest, and we would chant the Brahma Samhita prayers together for the deity, which Guru Maharaj later told us it was so pleasing to him just that we would do that, daily. But he was a quirky guy, as Guru Maharaj mentioned. One of which I think is kind of funny and was always entertaining to me was he had this uncanny ability to remember the most minute details of days, like years in the past. Like, he could tell you what date something happened, what he was wearing, what you were wearing, and I would just kind of look at him and go, how do you do that? That was funny. It was just one of those things that if you knew him, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And he had a natural inclination to see everything through the lens of the philosophy. Like, when he was having a hard day or a hard moment, he loved to quote Sridhar Maharaj, the environment is friendly. And sometimes it was with quite a bit of frustration he would say this, the environment is so friendly. But he was trying, he always brought everything back to the shelter of the Guru and Krishna. He did not, his faith never wavered, not even for a second. To the point where, like, his Guru Nishta was evident also from the early days. Like, I came from a different background, not a bhakti background, a gyan background. And I remember him explaining to me one time, he said, the order of the Guru is such that if the Guru tells you to move a pile of sand the size of a house with a teaspoon 10 feet over, that's perfect. You just do that and you'll become perfect by doing that. He had such faith in the order of the Guru and the words of the Guru that he was trying to get it through my thick Jnani skull that, this is how you advance in bhakti. It's not otherwise. And he was right. He was right. Took me a long time to realize that, but he was right. And then of course, as we know, he was very fashionable. He had a sensibility for fashion, which he loved to apply in dressing the deities, as we all know, and we've come to love his deity dressing. There's nothing like it. In fact, for one big festival, I don't remember which, it was either Janmashtami or Nityananda Tridashi, he without asking anyone, he took it upon himself to dress Gaur Nitai as Krishna Balaram. And when Guru Maharaj came in and the curtains opened for darshan, Guru Maharaj was just like, he was so happy, so pleased, because it was perfect. You know, Shyam understood what was going on, and Gaur Nitai were showing that face on that day, showing themselves as in their Braj Swarups. It was so beautiful to see that, you know, Shyam was able to pick up on that current and bring that out for Guru Maharaj to, you know, to be so pleased by. And he was very spiritually astute. He was always watching Guru Maharaj very, very closely, everything he did, everything he said. And he picked up on in the early days, in those days, Guru Maharaj was not forthcoming at all with his own inclination in terms of his attraction to Krishna and what flavor that was. We didn't know. But Shyam figured it out with these little hints that Guru Maharaj would let out here and there. Shyam figured it out. And he told me one day, and I remember, oh, really? Okay. Because in those days, Guru Maharaj's preaching and all of his lectures, I mean, in fact, shortly after I got there, Guru Maharaj went through the entire, most of the 10th canto and the Rasa Leela in particular in detail. And so there was no indication. He wasn't like, and he didn't tell it from a Sakya-Ras perspective either. So it was like Shyam figured out that where Guru Maharaj was, where his affinity lies. And then as, you know, the years went on, of course, that became more and more revealed. But he had this ability to pick up on that. That was definitely, again, that showed that he was very spiritually astute. He could pick up on things that other people didn't see, or at least he did, but way before them. And he was just a lovely man, you know. He was weird, but he had a beautiful sense of humor, and kind-hearted, you know, gentle, very gentle soul. And his service attitude, unfortunately, often got the better of his body. He would want to do things like he would want to cook a giant feast or a huge meal, a very complex meal, and then, you know, halfway through he would be like, he'd run out of energy. He just couldn't do it. His spirit was willing, but the flesh was not strong enough to keep up with his desire to serve, to please his guru and the Vaishnavas and the deity. And my only, you know, shortly before Shyam passed, Gaur Narayan contacted me and asked if I could go down to Madhavan because they needed someone to drive, and I know how to drive a stick. And I was like, I wish I could, I really do, but I just didn't have the financial wherewithal to do it. And I regret that now, because that would have been the last time I saw him in person. No, see him on the other side. He will.
Thank you, Chitahari. Braj Sundari, are you ready?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I mean, before I met Shyam, I already saw his post on Tattva Viveka. So I kind of had this sense there is like this guy with great sense of humor and who loves cows. And then when I was at Audarya, sometimes he was calling ashram, and of all the people involved, he was probably like most frequently calling and like for long talks. I don't remember with whom he was speaking, but I remember like once Nitai even commented like, does he feel very lonely? But I think he just felt the need to connect with Guru Maharaj's ashram. So when I came to Costa Rica, and Shyam came a couple months after me, and was still like very, very rough here, very undeveloped. First nights he spent in a tent. probably even without matters. It was very, and so it has been, I'm sure, very challenging in the beginning, and then he moved with Gore and Goku in one cabin, but immediately, like, his cow herding soul was coming out because he started imitating all the animals, and I didn't know anymore whether it was a bird or it was a Siam, whether it was a monkey or it was Siam. Was it a cow or was it Siam? So we had a lot of fun like chasing after neighbors' cows that would invade here. And there was a lot of physical work because it was still this first stage of development and whatnot. And of course, also we are very different. We have very different natures, come from different backgrounds. So there was still a lot of like conflicts and misunderstandings in the beginning. But what Chita Hari said, for the very first year, we also experienced like his desire to offer more seda than his body was able to. Like he would forget to drink or eat, and then he would get headache and like couldn't finish the cooking, or couldn't make everything he wanted. But it was like this great desire that he had and just wanted to do it, and somehow Krishna didn't allow him to manifest it. So in the But then when Guru Maharaj brought Dauji Gopal, like I started seeing more this like super devotional, like not only this like funny cowherdy side of Shyam, but also this like super devotional for the deities. And I remember seeing his face before deity installation, like he was doing some ritual that Guru Maharaj told him. I remember his face and how touched he was. And it wasn't something that he was faking. And over the years, like I've been in many temples and I've been pujari for whole my like bhakti path. So I met many people and many people very attached to the deities. But of them, like he's like kinda, I don't know even how to say, I won't tell most advanced, but the person with whom I saw most how he was really attached to the deity and how he really perceived Murti as a living person. Like temple is just next to my cabin, so often I would just pass while he was dressing the deities, and like I could see his interaction. And one time I remember, it wasn't long ago, maybe a couple years ago, I think he accidentally pinched Balarama Krishna, and he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but it was said in such a voice that I almost had like goosebumps. Like he's saying it's to human being, not to a statue. So that was amazing. And because he was so attached and so good in his service, getting service for Dauji Gopal, it was something very rare and to be cherished because like he didn't give it away easily. I was really happy to be allowed to dress them like later once a week. And I couldn't do good job with that. So when he got sick during the festival, and so I was still helping like to do Manasa Puja, and he would only come and dress them. But at the end of a retreat this year, like he became very weak, and one day he came like in very bad pain, and I asked him like, "Do you want me to dress Dauji Gopal for the rest of the festival?" And when Shyam said yes, I knew it was very, very bad. Like he would never do that otherwise. So it was one of those indications. Oh my God, it's worse than I thought. So I have great memories, like with first Janma, Janmashtami, they flew to Audaria, but second Janmashtami offer, I don't know, like somehow I was alone with Shyam for Janmashtami. And he was a little bit late with, like, he made new outfit and the jewelry, silver jewelry that he made himself, and it needed polishing. So I remember we were watching a broadcast from Audaria at midnight, which was like 2 a.m. our time. And we're still polishing those silver things. And they were like so nice, detailed. And like, I remember also later when he started working, also hearing his kirtan became very rare. Like he couldn't attend that much, and I really regretted it. And those beginning years, there were times like he would come in the evening and we had like amazing kirtan. I don't play anything. It was like embarrassing. And one time it was night and he was singing some beautiful melody. And there was two of us. I guess Gore was in Canada. And was like, oh my God, I feel like it's in Bhagavatam and we are in some rishis, ancient ashram in the middle of nowhere, and like why people can't hear the same kirtan. And like I regret that there is no more recordings of his kirtans. They were really amazing and really touching. And over the years also, like I started realizing more and more how strong his faith was. Like faith in Guru Maharaj, faith in Krishna, faith in Krishna's Murti, like unshakable, absolutely. So he became a pillar of my faith, like probably most important person to support me in my journey, like in service to Guru and Krishna. Like I realized like it's amazing. And of course, we had many differences, like on material level, but on spiritual level, I mean, like, he was the foundation of my faith by just observing him and like hearing him. I was gaining my faith, or like, I was stopped from being shaken. And also, he had this like, he was constantly listening to some kirtans, to Guru Maharaj's classes, to some audiobooks nonstop, less than reading. Like he was mostly listening to stuff. So when he would speak on philosophy, sometimes we had guests and we didn't do like formal class to them. Shyam would do some introduction or whatever, but it was so deep, so amazing. Like, and he had so many talents, and that's like how even one person fits it all. And like people like might not be even aware like how talented he is, because many things like cooking, of course, it was amazing, and he loved sharing his knowledge about anything. Like he loved teaching others. Sometimes people were overwhelmed because he had so much knowledge and he wanted to share it in such a short time that people were sometimes intimidated. But and he would like want people to do things correctly, so sometimes he might have sound harsh or whatever, but it wasn't that. He just wanted service to Krishna to be like high top. So I learned like I couldn't cook very well, but at least maybe I could decorate the plate for offering, so at least Krishna has visual pleasure or something. So somehow I had this huge favor that last few days that he was still eating, like I think they went to hospital or somewhere, and Gore didn't have time to cook for him. So I was cooking for the devotees, and Gore took him things that I cooked, and Shyam said it was good, and was like, oh my God, the best thing I could hear. And I think last soup he ate in his life was cooked by me. And then when he was in the hospital, I was nervous to share pictures of Dauji Gopal that I was dressing with him. I was like, I don't want to hurt him because he cannot do this seva and he's suffering in hospital. But when he came back, I was like more confident, and he liked them, and I was like, oh my God, I'm making some progress. So I also want to like remind that he wrote the morning Arati song for Madhuvan. He wrote this Vyasa Puja song for Guru Maharaj. He helped with writing or translation the evening Arati song for Madhuvan, I think. He did a lot of proofreading for Guru Maharaj's books. I just learned now that he translated some of Guru Maharaj's writing into Italian. I wasn't even aware of it. And maybe something into Spanish as well. And he had great love for gardening, as you could see in the, so that's like one thing that we shared together as well. Like we liked growing plants and oh God, there are so many things I could speak for hours about all kinds of adventures and whatnot, and also like about his very kind heart, how he recognized even like tiniest creatures. He didn't want to hurt anything. I remember one time he had a spider that got entangled in his hair, like tiny spider, and he was so gentle trying to get it out, not to hurt it. So okay, I think that's how much I can say without crying. Like, thank you, Haribo. Oh
Thank
God,
you so
who's
much,
that?
Sundari. Thank you for sharing. Chandramukhi.
Haribol. Thank you, Vantakalpa. I don't know if you hear me right. Okay. Well, I met Shyam in the last retreat, so I don't have so much to share about his life. I think all of you know him better than I do. But I have the fortune of come here on this last month, and I'm really thankful, and I know all of you are also, of the care that we could give to him on this last part of his life, because it was a hard time. I can imagine how is it for you, for those who really love him, because I know he's a great devotee, and in the moment I met him, he wasn't like actively or externally doing a lot of seva, but you can tell like when someone is a Vaishnav and how was his state of mind, how was his emotional world about all of what he was going through. So that's kind of what I want to share with you, because even though it's a heavy experience, it was a beautiful experience. And it's something that what I wanted to share with you is, first of all, say thank you for everyone who was praying for him, to everyone who was sending their love, their even financially good thoughts, all of the energy you were sending this way was really felt, and it's so strong, because I can't even, it's so weird that I'm from Chile and suddenly it's like I have to be there. It's just this call that it's nothing else matters. It's just somehow I just want to be there, and I know it's right, and everything was so perfect. It's like you could feel Krishna taking care of everything, taking care of his devotee. And I know that maybe this wasn't the outcome that most of you wanted, or how it was so sudden, unexpected. but if this can give you some comfort, he didn't struggle. He was really accepting everything. He was in a state of mind that I've never seen before, like someone so present. He didn't have any anxiety, he didn't have any fear. And just, the normal discomfort, physical discomfort from an illness, but what he was experiencing, like, internally was, I don't know how to explain, but was really a mystical experience. How detached he was of some things, and trying to also get healing, not only on a physical way, but on another perspectives of his life, and trying to detach of some things. And I think it was really, really beautiful, everything that we could witness. And also, I remember that Gaura Sundar always said, like, they were like in a love bubble. And it really felt like that. You didn't, it's not like you would enter in a suffering atmosphere, or and in the illness. It was just love holding everything. And that's the love they have for each other, the love everyone was sending on his way, the love he had for Guru Maharaj, the love he has for Krishna and Balaram. It was something, somehow it's this love bubble. And I wanted to share that with you. I want all of you to be inside this love bubble, because being there is like so, it's give you some kind of comfort while trying to deal with all of this. And that's why I wanted to share with you. So I guess that this can be hard, painful, sad, and everything, but there was so much love in all of this, and just have that in mind. And he wasn't struggling. He was really good taken care of. And thank you for making that possible, because otherwise it wouldn't be like that. So thank you very much for that. And it's just, it amazed me, everything. It's the timings, how aware he was of everything going on. So it was really something that has changed my life forever, and in the best way possible. And I'm glad to be here, and to get to know Shyam through the eyes of his friends, and how great he was till the last moment of his life. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you very much. Haribol.
Thank you so much, Chandramukhi. We're so grateful that you were there, but also for reminding us again that Shyam had so much love in his heart, and that he was so loved, and that it's love for Shyam that brings us all here. So thank you for reminding us of that again today. Guru Nishta, you're ready. You're next.
Yep, I'm ready. So, I guess I can start from when I met Shyam for the first time. It was 2005. I'd just come to Audarya as a new brahmachari. Shyam was living, I think he was in San Diego at that time. And he came for one of the festivals. It might have been Gaur Purnim, one of the early festivals. And so, like, fittingly, I met him for the first time in the kitchen. I was cooking lunch. He came a few days before the festival. And I was cooking for the devotees who had come early, and he came to the kitchen. We cooked together. But Shyam was the kind of guy who would like wear his heart on his sleeve. And so for some reason, he was in a bad mood that day. And he was very grumpy. And I was like, whoa, what's going on with this guy? he was in a bad mood for sure. And but it just showed me like how he didn't really have a filter in a way, which, you know, in a lot of ways it's a nice thing, because he was very unpretentious. And so then once he got over his bad mood during the festival, then I kind of saw the good side of the real side of Sham. But that's how I met him for the first time, and it was nice that we cooked together as the first contact point with him. But other devotees have talked a lot about his artistic side and the deities and stuff. But the thing that I personally liked the most about Sham was we were not very close for many years. We were a little closer when I was a brahmachari, but then I moved out of the ashram, and we kind of were not in contact much until about almost exactly a year ago. We all of a sudden deeply connected over this this process of like taking our practice deeper and getting into these like meditative practices that would take our bhakti and our you know, spiritual practice deeper. And we were in constant contact for the last year, which is, now that I think of it, especially that amazing thing that Chandramukhi just shared with us, and how Sham passed away almost like a yogi, really, like in like a bhakti yogi, of course, but like it seemed like he was completely undisturbed, and that's extremely rare. And like Chandramukhi is a nurse, and she said she's never seen anything like that. So now that I think of our whole year of constantly talking about this stuff, and especially talking about like how to integrate our spiritual lives and like realizations into the everyday, that was like the overarching theme of our contact, was that, and how to really kind of integrate your whole personality into your spiritual life, and that like devotional identity. It really seems like that was meant to be. I don't know if it's objectively meant to be, but I want to think about it like that year that we spent going through this stuff and talking about this, it was preparing him for leaving in the best possible way. And I'm very grateful for the fact that I had that with him before he left. And that's really all I need to say. I know Sham is present, you know, he's still present, you know, he's been freed from his body. He's probably having an amazing experience right now. He's in some kind of in between stage. I'm sure he's aware of this, what's happening right now. And I'm very happy for him in that way, that he left like a champ. So thank you, Sham, for everything, and have a good journey. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Guru Nishta. Thank you for reminding us that Sham is listening as well. Goran Narayan.
Hi, Krishna. Can you hear me? So I've known Sham, or I knew him for, I guess, about 12 years or something, since I was 16 years old. And I remember coming to Madhavan as like some teenager and being bored, and it was like, here I am at the ashram after work. And it was funny meeting Sham, because he was just like, I guess he was very different from a lot of devotees I know. Like, you either have like the very like polite, humble, submissive type, or you have the grouchy, mean, kind of like jaded type. Or that was what I had seen up to that point, and like the devotees I had seen. But here he was, like, very dedicated, serious devotee, but also not humble. Well, I mean, he's humble, but not like submissive. Like, he would speak his mind about things, and he would complain about things. And at first I was like, man, he sure complains a lot. And then I like learned it was like, oh, he's just like trying to like be honest and like improve things, and like, here's how we can make it, like, here's something that needs to be improved. And it's just like so interesting to see, like, oh, you can be like that. You can just, you know, speak your mind. You don't have to just take things in, and you can be a good Vaishnav. And I always remember he was very good at singing, and his cooking, he was always experimenting with cooking. Like, every time it was his turn to cook, it was like, all right, it's either going to be really good or it's going to be really bad, and he's going to mess up something. Like, I don't know, it would be good, but it would be like, he would be like, oh no, I tried this today and it didn't work out, so we're going to deal with it today. he would always experiment with something, and he always had like the most creative recipe. I'm like, I was like, yeah, this was what 11 years ago or 12 years ago at Montalban, so it was like all the facilities were like the most minimal, and then he would be like somehow cooking the most elaborate like Italian noodle dishes, and it was like, how did you do that in that kitchen with like nothing, everything handmade? Like you made all the butter from scratch, everything from scratch, even the soap for washing dishes was made from scratch, and like it's like, how did you do all this gourmet stuff in there? And you just try out everything, and like it was like yeah, I was always so impressed what he would do. And then I'd see him like, I'd see him picking flowers a lot. I think that was him. When he was like preparing the altar for the deities, and he would dress them every morning, and I'd always see him out like prepping everything and designing it all to look really nice and beautiful. And then um let's see. Oh, he taught me for a while. I was taking Spanish lessons with him, and I remember it was like he would get really nerdy about things. Like he would talk about, I'd be like, how do you say glasses? And then he would talk for like 15 minutes about how there's like 10 different ways to say glasses in Spanish. And like in Cuba, they say it like this. In Mexico, they say it like this. And in Spain, they say it like this. And then the whole history of why they say it. And I was like, okay, so which one should I use? It was really funny. And like, he just knew so much about languages and loved talking about them. And then yeah, I don't know. That's just, I didn't prepare anything. I guess those are the things that came up. But yeah, I always really liked being around him. It was always nice I always remember the lunches at Montalban, sitting and just hearing everyone chat. And he would always say something interesting. And like, and I remember Gorsinder would step and go, all right, we got to stop before he starts talking about weird stuff. We're going to end here. And like, let's go, let's everyone go now. And yeah, he was really amazing. Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of anything else right now.
Thank you, Gornarayan. Thank you for bringing to our minds back the funny sides of Shyam and 15 ways to say glasses and other things. Right, Priya?
Haribol?
Madan's going to go first, and then I'll go.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I can.
Do it. Just read the one about the installation. Want me to read it?
There's so much. You can read here.
So, okay, Madan wants me to read. So he picked some.
These are some things I pulled from old correspondence with him, or postings on Tattva Vivek, because I just I have too many memories, but hearing his own words is really special.
I read what he talks about installation. Okay, so
read this.
Okay, so this is from September 2007 from Tattva Vivek. This is Shyam's words. I remember one night I went to bed listening to a kirtan in my earphones, and somehow I thought of that part of the day when Krishna and Balaram come back to the village. Cows walking tight around every gopa. Krishna is playing the flute, but so are other gopas, all covered in very fine dust, and all so charming and beautified by it. Meanwhile, the birds are announcing the end of the day, cowbells dangling, more dust being risen. Some gopis gaze at Krishna out of the corner of their eyes while tending to their chores, Yashoda waiting in front of the house. I felt bad for inventing really all that, but it was so sweet I couldn't stop. I felt like the most fortunate being in the universe for thinking of Krishna and Balaram at Goduli. Another time I was left alone in Point Arena, and I had to walk Dharma and Bhumi, who were really little more than calves. We went all the way down where the neighbors were raising llamas and whatnot. The buddies were so afraid in those new surroundings. Every time they'd hear an unknown sound from the farm down the trail, they would walk so tight against me on both sides. That was such a strong sensation. It reminded me again of that moment, and it filled me with a protecting attitude towards them. I was a protector of cows. I started to think what it must be for Krishna to walk in the midst of a sea of cows who depend entirely on him and teach us Sharanagati. That was the end of that day.
This is he's talking about community and.
This is also from 2007. This is before he went to Madhuban. For the time being, the Costa Rica project seems the closest thing. I keep imagining me invited at Madan Gopal's and Garungi's. We're terrible at this. Sorry, you guys.
You're doing great, don't worry.
For kirtan. Oh. Being invited to their house or the other way around. Not because it's time for it, like in a temple, but just because instead of those neighbors that meet for ball games and booze, I think it's really hard for us because we did imagine having him here, and when we were in Madhuban this December, we talked, Sham talked a lot about coming here and visiting North Carolina, and Gaur Sindar and him had said that they had already mapped out the driving time from where they wanted to be in Canada to here. And one day I had a lot of really sweet times with Sham in December, just like the two of us in the kitchen. I took on some of the cooking responsibilities for the evening cooking, and I tried to always help him in the kitchen because he was obviously sick. And like Chitta and Rajasundari said, though, he had these amazing meals planned. And one day he made, like 50 parathas. And I was like, you need to ask for help. Like, you can't do this on your own. Like, let me help. But yeah, we talked about him visiting, and he would say, when we come, we can help, put on the festival. And I was like, no, we want to just host you, you'll get to come and be at a festival. And in his very honest Sham way, he was like, no, but you'll need, it's good to have people that know what they're doing, because he, capable. He was like, capable people that know what they're doing. So, we'll be able to help you. And so we had a lot of ideas. And so I think it's especially hard reading that. Because we really had dreams of hosting him and Gaur, and having them be part of our festivals. So it's especially hard.
And it's just an incredible privilege to be able to take care of the deities that he cared for so much. And I actually really wanted them to stay with him. And when Guru Maharaj asked us to take them, I asked Guru Maharaj, and he said that he spoke with Shyam and wanted them to come here. So that's just really our service to Shyam and Guru Maharaj to take care of them. So we're really happy to be able to do that.
Go ahead.
I don't think I can. If you can read this, this is from when they were installed.
So this is a really, really beautiful post that Shyam made on the day that, like Brajasundari was recalling, the day Dauji Gopal were installed. After days of preparation, we finally installed Krishna Balaram in their Central American estate. Considering the setup and the resources, we had quite a festival. All the decorations were from Madhuvan flowers or just outside the property. We had banana leaves and sugar canes on the posts, and on the altar we had our birds of paradise, pavancilos, purple sugar cane flowers, and various grasses. It was a real marathon trying to finish the outfits, wigs, accessories, and jewelry in time. And the jewelry didn't quite happen, also for lack of nice beads, but we finally have Krishna Balaram on the altar. To try to describe their beauty seems almost an insult, but I'll try anyway. Balaram's right arm going down is perfection personified. Well, limbified. His hair is so voluptuous, no matter how incomplete the wig was. When I put the plow on his shoulder, I almost lost it. And so also when I saw the chadar going down his chest on the left side. Now I know what it's meant when they say that Krishna actually beautifies his ornaments. Krishna's stick is also something, and the mudras of his hands, and the rope tucked into their sashes. Oh, I can't believe I finally get to dress Krishna and Balaram. I felt like I could do that forever, but like anything done in material consciousness, it came to an end. And then we had a great feast with our own rice, mung, red beans, burgundy okra, bitter melons, plantains, daikon, spinach, mint, chilies, and milk products, of course. And it's not even over, because tonight we'll sing our very first Krishna Balaram Sandhya Arti song ever. Oh.
And then he posted it.
Oh, they're pressing me to post it, even if it hasn't been sung yet. So here it goes. And then he posted the song. So those are some of the things that Madan found. So that was actually Madan's share. I don't know if we have time, but I had a few things that I wanted to share too.
Yes, we have time, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about I first met Shyam also in Gurpurnim of 2005 when Guru Nishta was saying in Odaria, and I wasn't initiated by Guru Maharaj yet, but my heart was being pulled so strongly to him. And but to be honest, I was having a really, really hard time finding my place in Sri Chaitanya Sangha. And I felt very alienated and confused kind of with the community aspect of Sri Chaitanya Sangha. And I grew up in ISKCON with just a very vibrant and large community. And so I was feeling out of place and just going through a lot of purification in accepting Guru Maharaj as my Guru Maharaj. And when I met Sham, he was such a kindred spirit for me, and he had such a way of connecting with people, or at least I felt for me, he had such a way of connecting where there was no awkwardness. It was almost like we were picking up a relationship, even though we had never met. It was just very easy, and he just kind of like, if you were part of Guru Maharaj's Sangha, then you were his friend, really. And I went to ashram Gurukula in Villa Vrindavan when I was 12 years old. And so that was a super nice connection to have with him. And, you know, we got to talk about Villa Vrindavan, and he was very interested in hearing about my experiences. And he just also was just really fun to be around, and just really wanted to connect, like really wanted to kind of connect on a human level. And I went back to Audarya in 2007 for Nishringa Chaturdasi. Chitta was there at that time too. And I went just on my own, which was very unusual. I left my kids with my husband and I went on my own, and it was like a really kind of immersion in the ashram for me. And Sham also came up for the festival a few days before, and he just loved cooking for Guru Maharaj. Like I saw it when I was in Madhuban, and I remember it from that visit that he put so much intention and love, and he just really wanted Guru Maharaj to like love his lunches. And yeah, I remember one day Guru Maharaj, I think, left some of the prasadam, and Sham got really dejected and was like, oh, he didn't like it today, and I should have done this and I should have done that. But I just I just have memories of that time of just like such a sense of a brother for me. And you know, my parents' generation, even though they were god brothers and god sisters, there was so much emphasis on separation of men and women and renunciation, and there was such a like hard stance towards kind of the, you know, opposite gender. But I always, as a second generation, we had more of a sense of brotherly and sisterly love. And so I just felt that so much from Sham, like just so much like a brother to me. And he just, you know, we connected on so many things. Like Braja said, he was the most talented person I know. Like everything he did was so well done, and he could like push like the boundaries of his talent to like extreme levels because he was such a determined person. And so just we connected on a lot of artistic stuff, and he was always interested in my dance and just like really cooking. I love to cook, and we just connected on that. And then we saw him again in 2008 for the Gaur Vijay Mandir, and he just had like such an enthusiasm for spiritual life and festivals, and he had such an attention to detail. You know, he wanted and like Chitta said, he was so attuned to what Guru Maharaj said, you know, just little things, he would just really imbibe them. Like I still remember him saying how when the Boga Artik song was sung, and the part where it says the bugle or Gora Artik, where it says the conch shells are blowing, like I don't know, maybe Guru Maharaj at some point had said like stop and blow the conch shell. And so Sham like loved these extra things, to do these little extra things to really like engage in the spiritual festival. And I have here, so he had made for the Abhishek at the Gaur Vijay Mandir, he had made these really beautiful collages out of clay, and he was doing pottery at the time. And I've done pottery, and like doing something on the wheel like this it's so hard and it takes so much practice. But he made, I believe it was about 12 of these collages, and it was really sweet. It has his little signature on the bottom, and it was really sweet. Devotees at the end got to take some home, so we still have our collage. So yeah, those were some times where I had personally with him. And then a huge regret I have is that unfortunately I didn't visit Madhuvan as much as I wish I did. And we did visit in December of last year, and little did we know that it was Shyam's Antya Leela. And so we were there in Madhuvan from the 16th of December. So we came about 4 days before Guru Maharaj came, and it was, just really special, like helping kind of prepare for Guru Maharaj's visit. And we also had a little bit more time to just kind of sit at lunch and have those long conversations, like Gaur Narayan was saying. But they were super special, and just kind of really getting to know each other again, and being with the Madhuvan Vasis, Gaur Sundar and Brajasundari, and Chandramukhi was there. And it was just a really, really sweet time. And, Shyam was sick, and he wasn't well, and he was complaining about being in pain and not sleeping well. And he still, he would come every morning to do, during those, that at least that period when we were there, those 10 days, he was still dressing Dauji Gopal every day. And just, yeah, every day was a feast for our eyes. And I asked one day if I could sit and watch him dress, because I wanted to learn from him. And so that was, and he was like, I'm not going to be able to speak through this. I just have to dress them. And, I can't like explain anything, because he was running under very limited resources energetically. So that was, something really special. I just sat and watched the whole dressing process. And, he was still cooking like amazing, really amazing meals. Like Gordon Ryan said, he liked to try. I still remember he made these spinach parathas with a carrot chutney, which I had never heard of, but it was like amazing, really, really delicious. So yeah, we had some really sweet conversations, and he shared a lot about just the difficulties of living in Madhuvan, and his dreams of kind of having a more like household life, just being able to like come to a house that was, everything worked, and you could turn on the stove without worrying about propane leaking, and just all the austerities of being there. And I just felt like he was such a treasure for our Sangha. Although I didn't like see him so much over the last decades, like I just like it was such a sense of pride for me, like knowing him. And it was like he's ours, like he was like our treasure. And it was just understood that we're family. And in that regard, I just want to draw attention to the significant contribution that Shyam made in opening devotees' hearts to Guru Maharaj and our Sangha. He was very good at developing relationships on Facebook, and he had quite a quite deep relationships that he developed on Facebook. And his love of Guru Maharaj and his Guru Nishtha were so strong. that he naturally opened people's hearts to Guru Maharaj. And I think it was a really significant contribution that he made our Sangha more accessible to people, and just kind of, put it more in people's minds, because they, fell in love with him and they loved him so much. So yeah, and I just want to end with saying that he was just a huge inspiration to me. Like, I loved what Brad just said, just like, just seeing his like unwavering faith in Guru Maharaj, and he really, really got it, like, that our path is about seva to the Guru. And he had such a attention to details. When we were in Madhuban a few days before Guru Maharaj came, he had my daughter Pranay and I, he was like, oh, you guys, you need to polish the cartels. And I was like, okay, like, I've never polished cartels before. But he was like, there was one time, I guess, where Guru Maharaj commented that the cartels were tarnished looking. And so he just he just so much took it on. Like, he was like, these need to be polished, and every day, like, okay, did you polish the cartels? And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it today. And we tried it with salt and like lemon, and it didn't like do anything. And then he found some like really, really old brasso. And so we were like trying really hard to polish these cartels. And it just, like, I was so impressed with the standard that he created in Madhuban, and the devotees there upheld. Like, you all were just like in the jungle, literally, in this like far off temple with very little support, very little, community to help. And the standard of deity worship and cooking and artiques, it was so impressive. It was amazing to see that this really high level of etiquette and standard was kept. And so yeah, I just feel like he really imbibed that. And I'll just end with saying, we have this really long, like 24-minute voice message that he had left for Mudden last year in January. And it's when things were up and down about selling Madhuban or not selling it. And he was, just kind of venting and also talking about some of their ideas, him and Gore, for their future. But after a lot of that, he said this thing that just really struck me. And, he said, well, Guru Maharaj wants to keep Madhuban now. So, then I'm going to do whatever I can, because he said, when you have an opportunity to manifest the vision of your guru, how can you not pass that up? And so, how can you pass that up? Sorry. Yeah. How can you pass that up? And, and so that was so much his mood, that, yeah, whether it's moving a pile of sand with a teaspoon, like, even if it's so absurd sounding, even if it doesn't make rational sense in the human brain, like, it doesn't matter. Like, if he's asking it, then Shyam was ready to do it. And he did. I mean, he did it till, his last breath. So I'm just so proud to have been his sister, and to have had even the little bit of association that I had with him. And I just I'm so proud of you, Shyam, and I'll always carry such a deep love and gratitude to you. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Gorangi and Madan, and thank you so much for sharing those things that Shyam wrote, which really talk about what was in Shyam's heart. which becomes very obvious as we're talking about him, that it's so much love that he had for Guru Maharaj, for the deities, and for all of us, because he was our brother. And the standard that he kept of worship is the standard of love. And that's why it seemed to be sometimes so effortless, even though he did it many times at the expense of his own well-being. And we appreciate that. So thank you so much for sharing your heart and Shyam's heart with us. Next, I would like Cinzia to say something, and I will try to translate. I don't know, it might be emotional, but we'll do the best. We're here with family, so forgive us if something doesn't go well, but Cinzia, please.
Allora, io ho conosciuto Sergio, mi senti?
Sì.
Sì. Ho conosciuto Sergio nel 1975 ed è stato subito amore.
I met Sergio in 1975 and immediately it was love.
Noi siamo sempre stati molto uniti.
We have always been very united.
Avevamo lo stesso senso dell'umorismo.
And we had the same sense of humor.
Ho sentito che tutti parlavano della sua capacità di cucinare.
I heard that everybody was speaking of his capacity to cook.
Non riesco a dire molto di più. Volevo solo ringraziare tutti quelli che gli sono stati vicino fino all'ultimo.
I don't think I can say much more. I just wanted to thank everybody who was close to Shyam until his last days. Grazie Cinzia, thank you so much.
Grazie a voi tutti, grazie.
It's good to be reminded that the grief we are feeling is proportionate to the love we feel for Shyam. Gaur, are you ready to say something?
Well, I'm exhausted, actually. I've been so much, I'm so drained. It's beautiful. I don't know what to say, really. I mean, all I can say, I think, usually when I start talking, I can start to say something, but I mean, it's just such a huge loss for me. I don't know if I can explain it. But, Shyam and I were, shoulder to shoulder, probably for 15 years. Friends, Savites, spouses, everything. So I guess what I would want to say now is just, and I'm sure I speak on his behalf as well as mine, it's just a huge thank you to everybody, because Shyam had a really good death. We were able to, with the well-wishing of the Vaishnavas, which was like paramount, without the generosity of everybody who donated money, with all the devotees who came down, I mean, Sadhvi came from Bulgaria, you know, that's like halfway across the world. And you know, Chandramukhi, I'm pretty sure that Krishna and Balaram picked her up and placed her here specifically for this. So it was absolutely amazing. And that's, you know, the amount of care and support that we got, and it allowed us to have, you know, the time in the hospital was a little bit hairy. It was not nice, but you know, once we got home, we were able to create this, like, this cabin was just like you know, just a love nest. It was a beautiful thing, and you know, we were able to do it with, you know, only because of the well-wishing of the devotees, and Guru Maharaj came down. I mean, it's hard for me to put it all in words right now. I'm like still processing it, but we were able to give Sham, I think, really good care, and I know he felt the well-wishing of everybody. He said that was kind of like the theme of the time, is he was just so grateful, and he was like marveling at the you know, at the amount of care and love that we were getting. He kept saying, you know, it was coming from every direction, from every message that everybody sent, from the devotees, you know, that the devotees came down. He couldn't believe we raised so much money. Even the care from the palliative doctors, you know, once we left the hospital, you know, he had a really good palliative care doctor, and he felt so taken care of and so cared for. So that was very nice, and I wanted to thank everybody for that. And I'm realizing now it was really an expression, you know, of his Sharanagati, of his, you know, feeling maintained and protected by Krishna and Balaram. And I mean, their hands were involved in this. Their hands were involved in this. Like I said, they picked up Chandramukhi and put her here, and you know, there was magic happening here. It was unbelievable. So certainly Krishna and Balaram made these arrangements to take care, you know, of their servant. And yeah, so you know, it really seemed like it was you know, as I think back on the memories, you know, as time went on, you know, Sham was not unhappy at all. He was totally, I guess it was surrendered to the thing. I mean, you know, slowly a door would close, and another option would close, and another option would close, and he never lost confidence in that he was being taken care of. It was just consistent. He was constantly saying, we're being so well taken care of. We're being so well taken care of. And then the doors started to close, you know, and then even the doors of his senses started to shut down. And it was a huge privilege for me to be able to care for him in those 2 months. And the devotees made it, you know, like Braj Sundari stepped up and took on all the service with the cows, and Chandramukhi was here, and all the devotees that came, and Guru Maharaj came, and they just made it really possible that all I had to do was care for him. And it was a total privilege to be able to care for him and to help him die. And you know, I learned a lot. He taught me a lot by his death, because I mean, I think he passed the test, you know, like you know, he had conversation with Guru Maharaj, and if you explain your understanding and your realization to Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj says that he's proud of you, then you know, like he said in his little eulogy there, I mean, I think that means that you passed. If your guru is proud of you, you know. And there was so much magic on that day. It was really, it's hard, you know, in time, I think if I'm able to, you know, chat with you guys individually and correspond, you know, I can share some of the things that happened. I mean, it was totally amazing. But I wanted to thank you because, you know, you guys and certainly Krishna and Balaram were very involved in letting us create that space where we could just totally care for him. And, you know, like I was, you know, he had the right attitude. I didn't so much. I mean, I was freaking out. He was not freaking out. I was freaking out. And, you know, that I felt like, and then the deities left, and Guru Maharaj asked Shyam about Dauji Gopal leaving, you know, and, you know, basically Syamasundara said, well, this, you know, Kishore is going back. This is a great opportunity for them to go to North Carolina and receive, you know, because it was clear that we couldn't provide the service, you know, the standard of service that he would have wanted to, and it was better for them to go. But, you know, I was feeling a little like, oh my God, we're stuck here. You know, we had plans to leave, and now we're trapped here, and the deities are leaving and everything. But I realized, like, I was given such an opportunity to do Vaishnav Seva. Like, the deities left, and they gave me this like amazing opportunity to serve Shyam, and it was really an amazing experience. And I'm very grateful that I was able to serve him in that way. But I mean, I can't tell you the loss it is for me. It's amazing, you know, like what Guru Maharaj said in his class, and, you know, everybody was thinking it too, was like, oh my God, Dauji Gopal are not letting him leave here. I mean, like, to me, it was unbelievable that you know, his whole life was going to be in this idea of in the Chaitanya Charitamrita comes this word Prabhu Datta Desh. I don't know if you've heard this term. It comes when Jagadananda and Sanatana Goswami are talking, and Sanatana Goswami had gone to Jagannath Puri, and, you know, his body was covered in blisters, and he didn't want Mahaprabhu to embrace him, and Mahaprabhu embraced him, and he was lamenting to Jagadananda. And there's this term like Prabhu Datta Desh, which means like the place that your Prabhu has given you for service. And I think I heard the term the first time, like it's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but I actually heard it in relation to Satananda. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's passed away now, but if you look at the photos or the video, I think of the installation of Krishna and Balaram, there's me, I think I'm holding Krishna, and Satananda, this Prabhupada disciple, is holding Balaram, and Syamasundara is doing the Abhishek. And he built a cabin here. He was a godbrother of Guru Maharaj, and he built a cabin here, but then he passed away shortly after. And I think I saw someone referred to him, he was sent to Japan by Srila Prabhupada, and they referred to, you know, his station as this Prabhu Datta Desh, the place that you're given for service. And I just see it like, you know, Shyam's life was like, you know, that was an umbrella over his life. He was in Eugene, and then he went to Darya with Guru Maharaj, and then Guru Maharaj sent him out into the world, and he went out into the world, and then Guru Maharaj said, hey, you can sell t-shirts in San Diego. So he came back to San Diego, and then Guru Maharaj said, hey, you can come to Madhuban, and he came to Madhuban. I mean, this idea that, you know, he was in the place that his Prabhu had given him service, and then he died here. I mean, I can't wrap my head around it. That it was so fast. It was so fast. It was 2 months, and he was from his diagnosis, and he was gone. So, and during that whole time, you know, this feeling of being cared for, it seemed like, you know, right until the very end. I mean, till the very end, the palliative care doctors, out of the blue, without an appointment, like decided to come the day that he passed in the morning. And I know he felt cared for when this palliative care doctor came, because he was nice and young and everything. So up until the very last day, I know that Shyam was, you know, feeling cared for, and it was an expression of his the Sharanagati, that we were being protected, we were being maintained, we had everything we needed. Shyam got everything he wanted. He got every supplement, and he just couldn't believe it. It was like the first time in his life that he had been entirely provided for. It was just magical. There's so many things that I could say. There were so many beautiful moments within that 2 months, but it's hard to kind of like, to remember them all now. Just that it's just a huge loss for me. And I think he was successful. Guru Maharaj knew him. He knew him inside and out. And over the years, Guru Maharaj said, Syamasundara, he's with me. He's with me. I have letters, sent by Guru Maharaj to the devotees here, and he just said, Syamasundara has been a pillar of faith, and he's with me. He's with me. So I think that, Shyam had a spectacularly blessed life, and his future is only bright, wherever he is. But it's a huge loss for me. It's just so rare. It was perfect. We connected, physically, emotionally, intellectually, and then on top of it, spiritually, like, let alone trying to find a gay guy who's vegetarian. I mean, we had the same guru, we had the same spiritual, spiritual goal. So, and I know for sure that, we would have never split up. The only thing that would have split us up was death, and that's what happened. And it was just tragic and just a little bit too short. I would have liked it to have been a little bit longer, like 20 or 30 years more. But this is how it turned out. And Shyam's example was exemplary through the whole thing. So I have that, and I have a lot of processing to do, and I'm reflecting back on the whole experience. And I'm very grateful that I was able to be with him. And I mean, I also have to say, Chandramukhi, I don't know where she came from. I'm sure Krishna and Balaram put her here to help me. There's no way I would have been able to do it without her. And of course, Braj Sundari and all the other devotees. I mean, it's not easy to die. It's not easy to die at home. And Shyam did a really great job. He did a really, really great job of dying. I just think he was a success totally. So if you can give Chandramukhi a gold medal, please do. Devotee of the year, in my opinion. I don't know what else to say. I think that's all I have to say. Well, I mean, the more I talk, I have memories. It's funny because sometimes people thought Shyam was a little proud or something. But during this whole process, you can't be of dying. There was no pride. It came a point where he said, okay, now I need diapers, so he sent me out to get him diapers, and there wasn't an ounce of shame in it at all. The only shame that he showed once was we decided to bring Tulsi Devi into the cabin, and at that point, I mean, I was still getting him out of bed and taking him to the washroom and stuff, and he wasn't wearing clothes most of the time, because it's hot here. So I got him out and started taking him to the washroom, and he was naked, and Tulsi Devi was here, and he would not have that. So so that was the only time he showed any modesty, or any kind of shame, was in front of Tulsi Devi. And then after we got him in diapers, then Tulsi Devi stayed in the room, and he offered his last stick of incense to Tulsi Devi, and he had me film it, and I haven't been able to share it because it's like too much. At that point he was losing his ability to speak, which is hard to even imagine, Shyam, not being able to speak. But he offered a stick in the mornings I would light some prasadam incense, and I would play Agni Dev bhajans, and one morning he smelt the incense. He said, bring it to me. So I brought it to him, and he offered the incense to Tulsi Devi, and he just said, this is probably my last offering. I mean, he was so aware that he was dying, and he was I mean, the dying process is complicated. I don't know if it's not like in the movies, but he was so aware that he was dying, and he was just like totally unfazed. I don't even understand it. He just had such confidence, really, like these qualities of Vishramba, confidence, and those two of Sharanagati, Rakshishyati, those ones of feeling protected and maintained. I mean, they were just like shining through him. He was just, that was the overarching thing, is he was just, he knew he was being taken care of materially, from all directions. That he was, from all 10 directions, he was being taken care of. So what was I saying about Tulsi? Oh, he offered his last stick of incense to Tulsi Devi, and he prayed that the devotees would wish him good luck on his journey. So he said, please wish me good luck. Please wish me, the best of luck, and I love you all, and Hare Krishna. And then after that, he, pretty much lost the ability to speak. And anyhow, I also wanted to thank Chaitanya Daya, because she received a lot of my frantic phone calls when I didn't know what was happening. I had not seen the dying process before, but it was beautiful. He left, and it was just like, when he left, it was, oh, that's the other thing. Like, when he was in the hospital, he wrote Guru Maharaj and asked him if he could record himself chanting japa for him. And both me and Shyam were thinking, oh, he's just going to say, it's online, download it from the archives or whatever. But Guru Maharaj didn't. He chanted, it's 8 minutes long, and he chanted japa specifically for Syamasundara. I mean, and Syamasundara wrote back to Guru Maharaj like, I'm unbelievably lucky. Thank you so much. He gave him this tape, and we had that playing all night. Shyam was worried he was going to die in the middle of the night, so we had Guru Maharaj's japa tape playing all night, and then also all day. And the day that he passed away, it was half an hour after the doctors came. He passed away, and Guru Maharaj's japa had been playing constantly on a loop. So he passed away listening to Guru Maharaj, and it was beautiful. And his body was so beautiful after. His stomach had flattened out, and his feet were it was beautiful. He died right at noon, and it was beautiful. And then the festival was going on. We were just thinking like, what's good? At a certain point, we knew he was going to pass away, and I was like, is he going to pass away on on Vyas Puja or Gaur Purnim? But the thing is, Shyam knew etiquette, and he was very appropriate, actually. And there's no way he would have passed away on Guru Maharaj's Vyas Puja. I mean, he was a consummate disciple. There is no way on earth he would. I mean, we were all thinking that, and thinking like, oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing? But that shows how stupid we were, because Syamasundara would never do that. He would never take attention away from Guru Maharaj on his Vyas Puja. So he did it the day before. So we'll always remember his passing, but it's not on Guru Maharaj's Vyas Puja. It's not on Gaur Purnima either. He wasn't he didn't want to draw that kind of attention to himself. It reminds me also, after he had passed, we bathed and decorated his body, in Vaishnav Vesh, and the coroner came, and it was a beautiful time. Sonia was here, his niece, and we had prasadam out, and we were eating, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day. And then Guru Maharaj started his class, and we just, it was live. So I put the computer next to Shyam, and we all just sat down. Ram Govinda was here. We all just sat down and listened to Guru Maharaj's class. And none of it was timed or anything. And Shyam looked so beautiful. The light was coming in and, bouncing off his body and whatnot. And it was just a beautiful time. And then the hearse arrived, and Juan too. Juan came with the hearse. I don't know how it would have worked actually, but anyways, he came. So Juan asked to come in, and I don't know if you guys know Juan, but he worked with us here for almost the entire time. You know, he's very much part of Madhuvan, and he came in. He asked if he could come in and see Shyam, and he came in and he wept over Shyam's body. I had never seen I've never seen Juan cry before, and he just wept over Shyam's body. And then we took Shyam out and put him in the hearse, and Ram Govinda was smart enough to think to chant Hare Krishna and Ki Jai, because the rest of us were just crying. And then we came back in, and right when we came back in, Guru Maharaj switched from the philosophy of the class to the glorification of Syamasundara. And it was just, all of us were just like bewildered by the timing of it all. It was just like Syamasundara left before he listened to the whole class, except for when it turned attention to him and Guru Maharaj's glorification of him. At that point, he left and he was gone. So it was a magical day. Krishna and Balaram's God's hands were involved in the whole thing. And magic was afoot that day for sure. And it happened so fast. Shyam didn't have to, he didn't have to do chemo or any of these things that he didn't want to do. He just got to, I spoke to the palliative care doctors after, and I've seen our family doctor who kind of sounded the alarm and got us into the hospital and got us the first CAT scans and everything. She's been our doctor here for a long time. I've been and seen her, and all of the doctors said the same thing, that Syamasundara said he just wanted to go home. He wanted to be with his husband, and he wanted to be in Madhuvan with devotees, and he just wanted to pass away with clean air and clean water in his home. And he got to do that with very little discomfort. He had a good stock of morphine, and it was a beautiful death. So I think that's all I can say now.
Thank you so much, Gaur Sundar. We are together with you in your loss, and we remember you and the love of Shyam. Thank you for sharing, and we're here for you. As we're concluding today, I wanted to say that thanks everyone who shared your heart with us, and my hope is that we go from this event filled with love and dedication and love that Shyam had and shared with all of us, and that love will continue to be with us as we are so honored to have had Shyam to be a part of our lives for however much he was present. He was a pillar of faith and was an amazing example of what it means to be a Vaishnava, and that really came through today. So thank you, Shyam, for everything that you have given us. We know you're listening, and thank all of you for being here today. I just wanted to conclude it here after Gaur has spoken. Thank you so much, Syamasundara Ki Jai. Thank you.